Hey, everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Brand new week on the show.
Wow.
We are getting so close to like real summer now.
Mm-hmm.
As I look at the little calendar up there, it says May 18th. What the heck? What the hell?
Know. I was like, guys, we ought to have a quarterly check-in here, and I was like, we almost at the end. We almost at the half-year review, and I was like, man, I got to start padding the stats.
I know.
Start watching some movies.
I had that thought earlier that I was like, oh, the next month is June. Oh, the next month is June.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if both of you have seen more movies than mine added together. Yeah. I think I've seen 2 new movies, if you will, this year.
I feel like I've seen maybe 5.
I know. Yeah.
So
2 plus 2 is 4.
Not like a ton
That
for me either.
is more.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. Well, like you said, the mid-year review is coming up pretty soon, so we will check that out then. But yeah, let's. I see we've been padding some other stats though. I see here in our catch up. David's been doing some TV watching. You finally have finished us in the land of completing the pit.
Yes, that's
Welcome
right.
to the other side.
Yes,
Tell us your thoughts now that you have finished the season.
I mean, what a fantastic show! Like all around, like made me love characters, made me hate characters, made me question things. Visceral in its depiction of an emergency room and various states of trauma.
Yes.
But also, from what I understand, highly medically accurate in terms of a lot of the stuff.
There's articles. They say
it's with the I'm sure that it's a TV drama, so there's some scenarios that it's like statistically, are you likely to get all of these things to happen in one day? Maybe not, but who cares?
At the pit you are.
At the pit you are.
But there's at least one day in somebody's life in an emergency room that has not been too far from that.
Yeah, probably true.
I remember you guys weeks ago, Josh said something like, Garrett, X came back? And I was like, I wasn't sure I couldn't remember the name at the time. I assume it was Dr. Langdon.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, I don't really know how all that stuff really shakes out because we don't really get, unfortunately, we don't really get like a full accounting of everything.
Not till tomorrow.
So that's the thing is season 2 going to be the next shift?
I don't think so, actually.
Day?
I think
No.
There's a time jump.
Okay.
Yep.
That
We'll
makes
have
sense.
to see
I
how
heard.
that goes.
And it'll be interesting because if they follow what it is, residency programs like that, they may not have the same people. They may be on a different rotation, and so it might be a different group of doctors too.
They might have a completely different cast, and that would
Could
make
have
a lot of
some
sense. But man, I'd say it was really well done. Dr. Robbie is really Noah Wiley. I just like
Yeah.
I apologize for not giving him his flowers for more years because he was really, really engrossing in this.
I'm telling you, he deserves some recognition at the Emmys this year or something.
He does. I agree. He was captivating.
Very much so. Very much so. Because I think we talked about it a little bit. I don't care for hospital shows really. That's the only one in a while that I've really hooked into and watched all of a season of. Because so often they can just kind of get ridiculous or delve too much into romantic subplots, and it just kind of turns into a soap opera. I don't know. This one stayed pretty.
Grey's Anatomy.
Sure. Grey's Anatomy, and this one certainly has its moments where it can feel soapy. It's very dramatic at times, but it maintains a lot of realism in that.
It all felt very grounded though in what it was.
Exactly.
And like there was a lot of situations that like are naturally inherent with drama. You just kind of picture yourself in those scenarios. I think the 24-esque hour at a time format really also added a tremendous
It's probably the first time since 24 that I've seen time used as like a device in the show that kind of worked for it.
So,
good,
yeah.
Awesome. Well, then we're all looking forward to the Pit season 2. I want to keep it on
2029.
I want to keep it on that hospital theme though, because Garrett watched John Q.
Yes, I did.
while we're intense in the hospitals, let's go to that.
I love John Q. I have always loved John Q.
It's a good movie. It's been so long since I watched it, though.
Yes, and I often go, man, you know what I ought to watch? John Q.
John Q.
It happens so often, and I never end up watching it because it's not streaming anywhere. I used to own it, but I don't own it anymore. And so, I go to the thing and I'm like, I'm not going to rent it. I'm not going to sit here and watch it. And so I finally was like, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to buy John Q. I'm going to buy John Q, a digital version for like $12. You know why? Because I say it enough to where I go, I want to watch John Q, and I'm always in a situation to never watch it. And so that is a movie where I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy it then, because I keep wanting to watch it. So I sat down and watched it. Mm-hmm. And man, it's still good. Takes a little while to get going, I'm not going to lie. But once he gets into the hospital, that movie is incredible. Denzel Washington is incredible. The worst part is, again, what's that guy's name? James Stewart.
I don't even remember.
James Stewart.
Jamie Stewart?
Nah, it's not that. It's
James Stewart.
God.
Well,
the dude, the piece of candy
John
from
Q.
the Family Guys. No, the piece of Family from
James Woods.
James Woods.
James Woods. Thank you very
Different
much.
guy altogether.
So he's a piece of garbage, right? And like in the show, he's also a piece of garbage. So he's well cast. Like, it's it's just got good people. And then Eddie Griffin is there, hilarious, and he connects to Armageddon as well.
Like Eddie Griffin.
Yeah, so he's in it. You have Ethan Suplee. Yeah, he's in it.
What?
Earl's brother.
Yeah.
Yes.
Frank
And-
Marino.
So many more that I can't like fully name them, but like it is a solid cast. Robert Duvall, Ray Liotta.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it is incredible, and it is underappreciated. Again, it takes a while to get going, but especially with how things are going right now in the world with medical care and health care. It was very interesting to go back to see this movie from like 2000, and again how things are. These questions are that John Q raises by being such a questionable character of having a son who is needing a heart and on the verge of death, but he's a hardworking man, but his hours are getting cut. He doesn't have the insurance to be able to cover it. He's trying to do what he can to save his son, but the hospital's like, too bad, you ain't got no money. And, then he takes over to do what he can to save his son. It's very complicated, but it's so good. I would recommend rewatching it because it does hold up.
I'll have to give that a shot.
Have you never seen it, David?
I've never seen John Q, no.
Oh, it's so good.
No, unfortunately, my Denzel library is really not as full as it should be.
What sparked this is that Denzel is in a new upcoming Spike Lee joint. And so I was inspired to finally jump into the John Q finally actually watch it.
Yeah.
And
Good.
Josh, you've seen it, right?
I need to do that. Yes, but like I said, it's been so long, I didn't even remember any of those people being in it outside of Denzel. I just remember it being about he's trying to save his kid's life because insurance, basically. Long story
Pretty
short.
much. Yep.
And it ends, hostage situation of sorts. I do want to go back and rewatch it though. It sounds like one that would be good for that. I did watch a new movie that came out this weekend that we've been looking forward to. I went to see Final Destination Bloodlines, and I was intrigued because it had a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And
they said it's the best one ever.
I needed to see that for myself.
Critically.
I tried to watch some others. I didn't get a chance to throw them all in, but I did watch Final Destination 2, which was delightful. That's the one with the logs primarily as the opening scene.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other great kills in there.
Tries
Honestly,
to break, but she steps on the water bottle.
yeah, there's a lot that are better than the logs in that movie, but that's the one that stuck out. Anyway, it's good.
Yeah. Dang, that's awesome. I love that for them, honestly. Good for them.
I found it thoroughly enjoyable. It doesn't I don't want to say it like resets anything because I don't think it does, but it does kind of like expand it more. So you're like seeing how even more people are involved, and you get some origin of things that I found satisfying in this story. So it was more than just like gratuitous kills. It felt like the Final Destination story moved moved forward a little bit, so that was cool. But there were gratuitous kills, and they were really cool if you're into those movies.
Of course.
You know, the Saw franchise is really bad about this too, just like this one, because they both utilize gratuitous violence so much that in some of the movies you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It felt fresh again in this one, and there were moments where I was genuinely like, oh my god, who thinks of that? It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And all the trailers feature pretty prominent kills in the movie, but I was worried they would put all the good ones in the trailers. They did not. Plenty of good ones that were not in the trailers still to come. Plenty of surprise kills and just like bleh. A lot of good stuff that I was surprised to see. So
Excellent.
All in all, I would recommend Final Destination Bloodlines if you are especially if you're a fan of the franchise. You got to be into blood, obviously. I don't want to recommend it for everyone because it's not for everyone, but you won't like it probably if you are in the audience for these movies.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I'm really glad that they are having a resurgence type thing, because I feel like they were enjoyable but kind of a joke, and now I feel like, okay, people are excited for this, so that's awesome.
I wonder if did it feel like they're going to do more?
So I wouldn't say it felt like, oh, there's this big open ending thing, but it also didn't feel like, oh, this is done.
Yeah.
It just felt like, and it felt like the movie ended, and it could or it could not. It didn't really feel like it was trying to be a defining thing.
Nice. All right, I'm super intrigued.
When you do see it, you'll get more. But like I said, it expands it to allow for more people to be affected by death in this way.
Well, it's such a knock-on effect. When it's doing well enough, both critically and financially, you would have to think.
Yes,
someone's over there going.
Opening weekend of the franchise. This one, it's pretty crazy. All right, let's get into our news and stuff. So the big news that I've seen everybody talking about this week is that HBO Max and Warner Brothers Discovery and all this stuff, they just can't leave well enough alone, and they have announced that they will once again rebrand this summer as HBO Max.
Nerds.
Big time, right?
I mean, that's the nicest thing I could say. Nerds. And they know it based on their marketing campaign. They at least know they're nerds, which is why they get that moniker.
They know it. We got to say up front that the Warner Brothers marketing fully embraced it, and they released a ton of videos on social media mocking themselves with stars from franchises. They got John Cena, they got James Gunn, they got all
Dr.
kinds.
Robbie.
They got Noah Wiley. Tim Meadows. I don't really know what he's from, but Tim Meadows was famous.
We always love Tim Meadows here.
Recreating TikTok memes. They had the Spider-Man meme pointing, but they changed it to Superman because obviously.
Yeah.
So they get it, but at the same time, I'm certain if we had the energy to go back and look, we made fun of this decision a couple years ago when they announced that they were going to drop.
Yeah.
They're one of the most famous brands in prestige television. They're going to drop that name in favor of a brand new one. That was one of the most generic names ever.
We probably tried to make fun of it. We tried to rationalize why they could possibly want to do this.
I can let me take a stab at this. I work at a place that really emphasizes inclusivity. And I truly believe that they switched it to Max because at this point in time, they were collecting every single thing. And people at Discovery were like, no, we don't want it to be HBO. We want to be included too because we were Discovery Plus. And then it was like all of these different things. And they were like, fine.
Be our worst brand.
We'll just take it and be Max. And then everyone was like, that's really dumb. And now they're back to HBO because they realize it is the one that they need to keep.
They probably needed a better name than Max. I can understand from a perspective, a little bit from that perspective, Garrett, of like, it is more than just HBO. It's It's DC. It's Studio Ghibli lives there. Sesame Street lived there for a while. It's what else? It's Turner Classic Movies. It's I think they have a special thing with A24. They had a lot more on the platform than just HBO. And so if you're trying to sell that to certain people and they think, oh, that's just the HBO app, and maybe you're the type of person who's like, I'm not really interested in that, then maybe, you're thinking how can we make this sound more inclusive? But just calling it Max and dropping the HBO branding it clearly wasn't a great move. That's why they're back. That's why we're back to HBO Max.
Right. I mean, the HBO brand and their shows primarily are still what drive people to that app. All those other things are great pluses, but it is genuinely the HBO television shows that bring people to Max. It's The Last of Us. It's the Game of Thrones. It's what's the White Lotus. It's all of these shows that are distinctly HBO. I can't even think of a lot of shows that they said that they called Max originals that ended up being hits.
I think only The Penguin.
Yeah, maybe.
That would probably be it, because that was the only major show that debuted sort of post.
And they've
HBO
even
Max.
said some of their other bigger ones coming out, their multi-year Harry Potter series is going to be HBO branded. We knew that a while back. So they're leaning into, when they have a show they believe in, they're calling it HBO. So big blunder to have done that and to have wasted a couple years and probably several millions and millions of dollars rebranding. Here we are back again.
Your hard-earned monthly subscriptions going to rebranding once again.
Yeah, please don't look up what it cost when it was called HBO Max compared to what it costs today. Don't do that. I don't even know, but don't do it.
But expect a price expect a price increase soon based on this blunder. You're gonna have to pay for that too, people.
Probably before
the three
before
of
the
us.
holidays or right after. I'm guessing.
Yeah, most likely true.
So yeah, we have that to look forward to. I think sometime in July. I don't know why they don't just flip the damn switch. It was already hit once. They're gonna spend another few dollars re-promoting it.
They gotta redo the graphics. They'll take the name back, but they're not gonna just get that graphics package back. They gotta update that.
And my phone still has the HBO Max app on it. It doesn't work, but I still have that app, and I don't know what it does anymore. Are they just going to make that one work again? Because I don't know why they separated them in the first place.
No.
Whatever. Let's
Nerds.
move on. On the coming eventually to HBO Max, probably right before the holidays, is Superman.
Yeah.
Superman dropped its first official trailer. This is James Gunn's much anticipated reboot of not just Superman, but of the DC universe, as it were. First big trailer. We are going to do this in an interesting fashion because David has not watched it and is not going to watch it intentionally, at least. But Garrett and I are, and we did, and we will talk about it to some degree. But we're going to attempt to not totally ruin it for him or anyone else who is withholding from Superman trailers. But that said, you just watched it before we started recording. What did you think? You and I are kind of on Superman.
Yeah. I have always, you can go back and listen to our original Superman series where I think I enjoyed the first one and then trashed everything after that. I have never fully enjoyed Superman. Growing up, I remember watching Lois and Clark. I enjoyed that. And then I enjoyed Yeah, I know. What a bummer. But I also enjoyed Supergirl, and so there were some of those that I'm not too far off, but no one has ever been able to make a Superman relatable or likable on a enjoyable scale. And the first trailer or the first little teaser that they released, it was like, okay, that was kind of cool, looked nice, but didn't give me much. I really liked this, and I think I'm also in. I think that I'm not surprised. James Gunn is great. I like most of the things that he has done. He knows what he's doing, and he has knowledge of the character itself, which is important. And he takes this stuff seriously. He see what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously. So the way that this trailer starts, Josh, super into it. I haven't seen anything like that. I really thought it was a cool way to start things off and kind of get you in. That was a super cool way to take it.
They definitely opened with a hook that looked like this is a compliment. Came straight out of TikTok. Like that kind of hook makes you stop and you're like, you say what now?
Right.
Just
well,
because
and even,
I know, and I feel like there might be some trickery involved with this.
Probably, but it's at least an angle that I have never seen before, and it felt fresh. It felt original. It didn't go through all this bull crap that we all already know about Superman. I think that's the problem. Is they always feed you the same crap, and they hope that you don't realize it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. This really looks and feels different. So,
and David Cornsweet as Superman in this, and who we see primarily as Superman in the trailer, and we get some moments of him speaking as Superman. He doesn't seem like just this stoic statue man. He like has a little bit of personality that Superman has lacked for a long time. Something that Henry Cavill is capable of as an actor and just wasn't allowed to do, I think, in his movies.
Yes.
So I'm hopeful that this is a truly fresh take on him, because it feels like it could be, because we've had, I think, actors who could pull it off, and they just didn't have it right. And maybe James Gunn did it this time. I also, know that he will. It's not that he can't do no wrong. He has a pretty good track record right now, but I'm hopeful.
Same, and I'm stunned that I would say this. So.
Yeah.
I get I get a very specific impression about this movie based on things that have been said about the movie. I saw someone who had got to see like an early test screening or something like that, and something they said was, they did, without spoiling the movie, they said this movie is not going to follow the superheroes like movie arc that you're conditioned to see.
Thank goodness.
And so that sparked something in me, because then I thought about what James Gunn has said are the comics that have inspired this. I don't have these on me. I have them somewhere back there. But he's talked about All-Star Superman and like Superman for All Seasons. These are two stories that so I think what we're going to get is like a year in the life style movie. So, like, you're going to see Superman living his day, / Clark Kent, living his daily life, going through struggles. And that's why you're seeing, like, in these trailers and images, so many different, like, creatures and monsters and bad guys. And it's like, who's he fighting in this? It's like a whole bunch of different things. I think it's like you're going to see how Superman grows and changes and evolves over the course of time. Maybe not specifically like 1 year, like January 1st to December 31st, but like over a period of time, he's going to like go through these different things. And it's not going to be like at the beginning of the movie, Lex Luthor steals something, and then by the end of the movie, Superman's got to figure out what that thing actually does specifically. Maybe something like that will happen. But I think that's going to be more of what it is. I think it's going to be like much more of just a study of what it's like to be Superman, as opposed to
character study.
Yeah,
that's what these should be.
Yeah,
because you have to introduce the characters, but they all follow the same formula. Make them people.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be.
Give me that first one as them as a human. Or
I don't know if this particular trailer maybe implied that or gave you guys that impression, but that's just kind of that's the vibe I'm starting to get when I think about it.
I don't think the trailer gave me that impression, but I could also see how that could be a thing. Yeah, for sure. It definitely doesn't present it like... I wouldn't say the trailer gives you like, oh, here's the narrative of the film. It doesn't really tell you what it's about, per se. But it was a good trailer. It got Garrett hooked. That's a hard sell for a lot of Superman movies. Historically, we've covered more than our fair share of them. So
almost all, if not all.
The only movie that I think the only ones we haven't technically reviewed for this are the Man of Steel, and we probably didn't do Batman versus Superman.
Ooh.
We covered the Snyder cut of Justice League when it came out.
We did
all that time ago.
Oh man, yeah. All right. let's get into the weekend box office.
Yeah, so as we're heading into, so this weekend was not Memorial Day weekend, but next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. So I wanted to give a quick thing of just saying that year to year, we're actually way over 2024 for the box office so far heading into Memorial Day. Memorial Day was infamously kind of a weird time last year because it was like the Fall Guy didn't do well, and then after that Furiosa didn't do so well. People were like, oh no, the box office is dead, you know. This year we're up a little bit. We're up over 16% from where we were this time last year. So things are doing okay. And that includes this weekend where Final Destination Bloodlines debuted to $51 million, highest debut for the franchise. Also best, I think some of the best critic reviews for the franchise. At number 2, you had Thunderbolts with 16.5, dropping just another 50% in its third week. Sinners brought in 15.4 million, another great weekend for that. Minecraft movie is at number 4 with 5.8. The Accountant 2 is number 5 with 4.9. So for the year, the Minecraft movie is still your number 1 movie of the year with 416 million in the U.S. Sinners is number 2 here in the United States with 240. Captain America: Brave New World number 3 with 200 million even. Thunderbolts at 155 is the number 4 movie, and Dogman, animated sort of Captain Underpantsy movie, is at number 5 with 97 million. I think Final Destination Bloodlines is going to surge up this list, though. It debuted in the number 9 spot with this opening weekend, so I kind of see it being it'll be in the top 5 probably by the end of its first month.
Pretty exciting. And I saw that Captain America: Brave New World is going to come to Disney Plus here in the next week or so. I think somewhere around Memorial Day. So I'm looking forward to finally seeing that. Especially after getting some references in Thunderbolts that I know from that movie that I need to understand.
Yeah. I'll be interested. I enjoyed myself with that particular movie. I do think Thunderbolts was better. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Coming out next weekend, Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Those are your kind of 2 big releases for
Stitch
Memorial Day
versus
weekend.
Cruise.
That'll be fun.
My prediction is Stitch will probably win.
It seems, yeah, family, man.
And Mission Impossible, this may be a movie that's coming out purely just for Tom Cruise because I don't know if you guys have been following along, but that movie ballooned its budget tremendously with various delays and things. So I think it has like a $300 million or $400 million budget or something like that. So we're just kind of releasing it to say thank you, Tom.
I think it will be a close race, but I think that we are underestimating the power of Dad movie and Memorial Day weekend.
True.
That's powerful. True. But also a full family for Lilo and Stitch.
I know, but also people would be taking their kids. My family would take me to see Mission Impossible in a heartbeat.
And Lilo and Stitch, already seen it.
It's true.
True.
But a bunch of kids have.
True. They'd like the cartoon better, probably. I don't even say, I'm just saying, the cartoon probably better.
Maybe. That's a weird thing is like I've noticed that Jack and some of the other kids his daycare, they prefer like the real people. Like that's what they'll always ask for. They'll say, I want the real version.
I don't know about
this.
that.
Either has a possibility to be a stinker of a weekend or like a Stitchin' Impossible type situation where I could also see
Stitchin' Impossible.
I can also see the parents and the kids, or like one group of parents taking the kids to go see Lilo and Stitch, and group of parents taking like Grandpa and everybody else to go see Mission Impossible. So it could be split.
Well, there you go. Well, hopefully
I'm excited.
Hopefully one of the 3 of us will be able to see any of those 2 movies.
I'm sure we'll get to do one of them. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, I'm hesitant about Lilo and Stitch, but I'm obviously looking forward to Mission Impossible. We've talked about those movies forever. So, yeah, I'm excited to see if Tom Cruise finally breaks his leg or something.
Last year's movie, Dead Reckoning, our most watched video here on YouTube.
That's true. Go to our YouTube.
Gonna have to cover it. Yeah.
And follow us on YouTube. Subscribe there. You can go to somanysequels.com and find links to our social media there too. Thought I'd throw all that in right there while we're at it. Actually, you know what? We're at that point of the show anyway, aren't we?
Yeah. Well done.
We're in the middle of disaster movie month here for Mayhem. We've covered Dante's Peak and The Day After Tomorrow. Coming up next is Armageddon. So very excited about that. And then keep an eye on our social media. We'll be posting a fan pick this week to get some votes on what you guys think we should end the month with.
Does Mission Impossible count as a disaster movie?
I'm sure something disastrous will happen.
Yeah, he's always preventing a would-be disaster.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think
that one.
I think it's.
Hey, there will be mayhem.
That could be a good reason to just. Yeah. Okay. We'll think about that. We'll think about that. So stay tuned to our socials. Go to somemanysequels.com. You can find all our links there. We'll see you guys very soon. Bye.